Good
Hello.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning from the Tower of
Cheers.
London.
There you go. You have your Tower of London mug. I'm having some San Pellegrino.
Nice, nice. Was it me or could you not hear the music on the intro?
I could not hear the music.
Yeah, I was like, is my volume down? I'm like, this is kind of odd. What's going on? But okay.
It was low to start, but we get it going.
All right.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
Lil. Oh my gosh. So, wow. I don't know. It feels like a lot has happened since the last time we were here.
So many good things have happened. I think we've been busy little bees.
We truly have. Indeed. We truly, truly have. It's been good. Things have been good. Things have been, I mean, it's, we're coming into the season. Everybody get ready. You know what I mean? It's very.
Oh, yeah. Salem's hopping, and it's definitely come back to life. It's interesting to see the different people traveling. I've seen people from all over the world, from France and Germany, even some people that were coming from Australia. It's wild. Definitely Salem's busy season is upon us.
Yes, absolutely. And driving around in the downtown has its challenges right now.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's like I'm avoiding certain streets. I'm like, ooh, gotta go this way now. It's like, woo. It's like, yeah, you can definitely, the people are back. The people are back, and they're back. Like you said, they're coming now from other countries. We've kind of gotten out of, pandemic mode, and we're back into people from all over the world coming back to Salem. So very, very good in many ways, but also it can be challenging for residents like myself. So you got to know your back streets. You got to kind of know how to get around. And with my office right downtown now, it's like, ooh, I got to think about this when I'm heading in. So
definitely the parking spaces are slim when you visit us. Just keep that in mind.
Well, like one of the other things that goes on is that it's a time of year where they do a lot of construction on things. So you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, like not only is it, it's challenging. I know we've got some challenges over in Beverly too, right? With Zodiac. They've got Canal
Street's closed. So if you're going to be getting a reading, or if you have appointments scheduled in Beverly at Zodiac, please make note that Canal Street and Cabot Street are all under construction. So you have to do this weird loop-de-loop going around to get good parking. But we do absolutely have a completely available, like a huge parking area.
Yeah, and the parking is right behind your building. So
it's not much
super easy.
Yeah, it's
super easy. Great. I think Waze, if you use the Waze app, people have probably kind of like alerted Waze that these streets are closed. So if you use your Waze app, you should be able to just get right over there without a problem. Just follow your app,
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I like use the app for so many places at this point. So, right?
Jim,
I know, Joe. Why?
Why not my broom? Why?
Yeah. Like, or chitty bang bang. Why do I not just fly the car into my parking space at my office? I don't want to, I don't want to make other people jealous, is what it is.
That's fine.
Jealous. I don't want them to be like, hey.
My humility. Joseph, it's my humility.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
I don't want to brag, but my car does fly.
There you go.
Oh, that's great.
So anyway.
No, it's funny. So
I'm excited. Yeah, no, go.
So it's really interesting that with people, a magic reindeer, really, anyone see baby reindeer? Don't. Scary. I hear a laugh. Somebody did see it. So with all the people come many questions. And I think this is very interesting. The new series of topics Sandra and I are going to begin discussing here on the Psychic Teas. So, like, a a lot of people come in the store and they have questions, and there are common questions like, what's a witch? What's manifestation? What's a spell? How do I use herbs? What did we do with crystals? And in fact, it was an interesting little debate I saw on the Book of Faces there, kind of commenting on the fact that I said that hematite was good to help with various types of mental health issues. Love to dig deeper on that because, somebody saw that comment as dangerous. Where I think we always say, if you're going to use some magical remedies, please back it up with a doctor's visit.
Always. And so when we started talking about the Making Magic series and talking about what makes up witchcraft, what makes one a witch, what are the tools of the witch, what are the foundations of this whole belief system, the first thing we have to cover is the mind. And so, yes, mental health is a piece of that. Obviously, we would never tell people either to go against something that their doctor had prescribed for them, or, to not see a doctor, but instead, cast a spell or something. Never. We would never do that. Leanne and I have teams of doctors ourselves.
So many.
Teams of doctors. We're very happy to use, the conventional methods of medicine. So we're not warning, we're not shying anyone away from that. I think people look for reasons to pick other people apart, and it's sad. And it indicates somebody that really isn't happy with their life, and they feel like they have to go after other people constantly to try to bring other people down, because why are you feeling like you're happy and empowered and, and living your life, and how come I feel like I can't get out of my own way? And it's like, why don't you listen to what we're talking about? Because we're trying to empower everybody. We're trying to, help people live a better life, help them get the things that they want out of life. So we're not gatekeeping, we're not gatekeeping the knowledge, guys. Spoiler alert, we don't get paid for any of this. This is something we do. The psychic tea is something we do of our own accord for the community. And I use the word community. Let's call it for the collective. Because let's face it, this is a bunch of little communities that are all trying to be under that same umbrella. And some play better with others, than others do. So, one of the things that is important to the witch, and one of the things that has to do with the mind, is divination. So before we stray too far into the topic, I'd love to see what you pulled intuitively this morning as the card we need.
Okay. And now let me tell you how this card got pulled, because I chuckled.
Okay.
As I am a person who suffers from ADD, or maybe be blessed with it, depending on how we look at that, right. I was doing my cards and doing my things and shuffling and getting ready to pull that magic card for the day, for that moment when you're going to go, hey. My dog barked, the cat got in, I heard a thing, and everything went flying. But sitting lovingly on top of the chaos was wonderful, the Queen of Swords. I almost texted Lou and said, this bitch is the card of the day, since she seemed to be grinning at me with advice and wisdom I really didn't want to hear. So here she is. Isn't she glorious? She's there. She's there. She'll let you in only so far. She'll only let you come up and chit-chat with her. But you got to know she's got that sword, and all that mush and gush is going to take work, effort, and a lot of your energy to get into the soft side of this Queen of Swords. I love her. Sometimes known as cold and bitchy. I love her because she's independent and she speaks her mind. Her judgment is unbiased. She's clear and she's very direct about her boundaries. Her communication is direct. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, look at that, the softer side of this beautiful queen with her butterflies representing our transformation. You got to go through the sword to transform people. And look at, she's at peace. She's like unfluctuated. She's cool. But she often speaks about mental clarity, okay, and her own intellectual power. She's mature, but not too old. She's young enough to be vibrant and fertile. She has empathy in certain situations where you just don't, you don't put yourself in. She has empathy when you deserve her empathy. She seeks the truth. She hates bullshit and lies. And she has the innate ability to help you through all confusion, even if you don't want to. Okay, sometimes she doesn't like it. You don't want that Queen of Swords. Maybe that Queen of Swords is the last person you tell all the shit that went down that was innately your own responsibility. She tried not to gossip, but if you have shit to talk about in the middle of a grocery store, she's that first phone call that you go and you wouldn't believe what just happened. But she's there and she's got this pass through the sword. It's worth it. I'm sorry.
The challenge of initiation.
Sometimes known as the bitch. Oh, I couldn't believe it. It was standing right there. Everything's falling over. I'm like, what did I do wrong today? Why? What? Listen, she sorts through a lot of mistruth and a lot of fantasy. Sometimes we create stories in our heads about people that we want to believe they're better. And sometimes we need to be accountable for our stuff. She's the one you go see, okay? Sometimes you yourself have to be more clear in your articulation of whatever you want to get on. Maybe I should have done a precursor of, I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. I'm really bad. But she does pass through noise and confusion. It's really rough. Sometimes seeing her is a tough message, but her graceful beauty will get through all of your problems. And then the next day, I'm going to tell you, once you pass through the truth in her sword, everything is like peachy queen. I like that.
Yes, she's logic and reason, which is sorely needed in this world right now. She is, discernment and good judgment and, sorely needed right now. And she encourages accountability, which is also sorely needed right now. So I adore her. She's definitely the queen of the air, queen of air signs. So how could I not adore her? As a Libra, I very much adore her. Truth is the sword of us all is this old sort of adage. And she is a big, like you said, big truth teller, big believer in living life from a truthful standpoint. Being yourself, expressing yourself, being your true, authentic, genuine self, your flawed, whatever, and taking accountability for all of that and integrating the dark and the light and being able to, to just say, yeah, this is me. I'm working on it. And to be able to take constructive criticism. She certainly gives constructive criticism, and to be able to hear constructive criticism and not fall apart like you're made out of candy glass, to be able to have somebody challenge ideas and to be able to debate. And that's something else that's kind of getting lost in our society right now, is that we've lost the ability to allow another person to hold an idea that we do not hold and to have a conversation that's not a set of personal attacks or is somehow, like you're deemed anathema if you're not, in alignment with whatever the party line is. And so we need to be able to tolerate people having different views. That doesn't mean we want to tolerate people that want to take away people's human rights or anything. It's just saying that, if someone believes something slightly different from you, or, maybe it's dramatically different, maybe their culture is dramatically different, maybe, whatever, maybe you can learn from each other. I'm not saying everybody's got to believe the same thing. We have to be able to, accept that not everybody believes exactly the same way we do, and that people, should be able to express however they are, whatever you are. Happy Pride. Let's work that in there for a second. And,
please.
and I'm just saying, like, people need to be able to be, I wish more people could be exactly who they want to be in this world. I wish so many people weren't hiding behind masks because they don't feel comfortable being their true, authentic selves. I like to show up genuinely to everything that I'm in. So it's like, I wish everyone could feel that freedom, so this is that card that says, take a look at things from a logical standpoint, from a very, take logic and reason into consideration, take yourself out of the picture, raise yourself up from, into the air, and take what in business is called like the 50,000-foot view of the issue. And sometimes what you have to do for yourself is give advice as if you were giving it to a friend. Take yourself out of your situation, pretend that your best friend called you and described exactly what you're going through, and what would you tell that best friend? And, and that's where, you can maybe start from. So yes, love her.
I love her too. And it was funny, right underneath her was a reminder of, with the Page of Swords, to look before you leap. It was like a whole air sign reading. I was like, holy shit, what the hell are you telling me?
Well, the other thing I wanted to mention was the Magician. In terms of what we're talking about today, and we're starting to unpack that witch's toolbox on the Psychic Tea, and we're going over what witches employ to make changes in their lives. How do we work magic? How do we change things for the better for ourselves and our loved ones? And the mind is that number one tool. But I was imagining, the Magician with the witch's tools, and how that's the beginning of the fool's journey. That's the first stop on that journey from that pure potential that is the fool. The first stop is the Magician, because it's one, I, me alone. That's the Magician's number, is one. And it means myself, mastery of myself. Those tools help me master myself. I have to master myself first before I go out and start affecting others. Before I go out and start, changing things out here, I need to change things in here. And that's, part of the tarot journey, which I'm hoping we'll get deeper into next month. But part of, because I would love to go over divination next month, as a sort of natural evolution from the mind. It just feels like intuition should come right after. But yes, I feel like the idea of self-mastery is really powerful.
Absolutely. That Magician card.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started tarot and I looked at the Magician card and I thought, ooh, it means, we got to go shopping for our tools. No, you have to wake up to the tools that you were already given from the minute you passed through those planets on the day you were born. It's right. Realizing you've had them. They're right there. Yeah. And
so now and so I want to talk about some crystals that I would recommend for mastering different parts of the mind, because I want to talk about, and you can master this stuff without crystals, guys. I'm not saying you need crystals to do this, but I'm saying there are some crystals that I personally have used for different purposes, And so I, as somebody that is constantly in touch with my crystals and works with crystals all the time, I want to talk to you guys about, because I know tons of you have the crystals, right? You've got your crystals. What are they doing for you? What are they doing? They look beautiful. You set them out somewhere or whatever. That's great, but let's put them to work for you, right? And these crystals I'm going to talk to you about, most of them, you probably already have most of them. If you're a crystal collector at all, most of this is going to be something you can probably put your hands on today. So let's get into it. First of all, with the mind, of course, and we just had, the Queen of Swords. How could I not lead off with intellect and wisdom? Obviously, so we want to enhance our own decision-making ability, because the decisions that we make, just as a human being, even if you're not a witch, the decisions that you make are how your whole life gets structured. The things you choose to do or not do, the things in your day-to-day, that becomes your whole life. So this is important. Thinking about how do I approach from an intellectual standpoint, how do I approach my life? So I definitely recommend lapis especially for intellect and wisdom. Ancient Egyptian judges believed that lapis helped them find the truth of a matter. So if it worked for the ancient Egyptians, it works for me, because I absolutely love all things ancient Egyptian with the magic. So I'm all about that. So you gotta love lapis, right? And on a Thursday, how could I not lead off with one of the most beautiful blue stones you will ever lay eyes on, with the pyrite running through. So we've got the gold in there. And what color was Wonder Woman's lasso, Leanne?
Oh my goodness. Gold.
Gold.
She had a golden lasso.
Right? To make the truth come out of any matter. So, and of course, and I'm going to bring this up because like so many people around here are watching the Karen Reed trial. Lapis is good for winning in court. Just saying. Anyway, so the intellect, right? So enhancing the mind, the power of the intellect, wisdom, decision-making abilities, problem-solving abilities. That can all be lapis. Unleashing your imagination and inspiration, I'm going to go with citrine, which, believe it or not, that is a citrine. So
holy moly.
We used citrine while we were writing the book. Citrine breaks down writer's block, and it breaks down when your mind feels stagnant and you feel stuck. It opens up inspiration. It can help open up the imagination. Why is that powerful in magic? Because it has to do with visualization. It has to do with your ability to be a visionary, with your ability to come up with ideas, to, that's a piece of magic as well, is being able to think outside the box and be able to think of the thing that maybe hasn't been thought of yet and come up with the idea. So that's extremely magical. And so you want to enhance that, go for the citrine. Leanne and I both have jewelry that we wear constantly when we're working on something. So it's like citrine, that's the thing. The next thing we did while we were writing the books, fluorite for increasing focus and clarity. So fluorite, which I'm going to show you my feather. This is my feather fluorite. I absolutely adore. Love it. Because I love the idea, obviously, of the feather, because here's Ma'at's feather right here, speaking of the ancient Egyptians. So fluorite is my go-to and has been since I was about 21 years old in terms of focus and directing your attention. This is so powerful. Leanne, go ahead and say.
All right. I had a bracelet. I had a crystal. I have ADD. I have ADD. I'm definitely somewhere on the spectrum. That shit worked for me. Okay. I got therapy. That helps me too. But while I have therapy, I'm clenching on to my fluoride. It makes it, I can't explain what it does for me. I can feel its vibration. It works.
So it helps you focus on the stuff that matters. It helps
That
you.
matters. It dumbs it dulls that outdoor noise, the clatter in my head. I have a lot of noise sometimes, and I get just
It helps get rid of the static.
yeah.
And it can help you prioritize. It can help you, focus your attention instead of getting distracted, getting drawn off course. This is especially important for me as I am time blind. I am completely time blind. So I can get dragged off course and lose track of time when I'm doing something so easily. And then now I'm running late for like everything. And I so have started getting away from the practice of overbooking myself. I'm trying to give myself lots of space in between the things I need to do. But fluorite helps on a day where I've got a lot of stuff lined up where I cannot afford to get dragged off course. Fluorite is my go-to. Love it, love it, love it. Love fluorite. Even just waking up in the morning, thinking about what has to happen, holding on to the fluorite for a few minutes, it just gives me that few moments, take some deep breaths, gives me that time. Okay, so, and now I just lost my list. Okay, where am I? All right, strengthening memory. This is hilarious. I literally was like, where am I? Strengthening memory. So clear quartz. Clear quartz. Love it. And I love spheres too. I mean, I use a lot of palm stones, but I love spheres too because I love to move things between my hands. If you're a fidgeter, get a sphere. So clear quartz is amazing. You can tell it things and it holds things. It's a memory. A lot of them are specifically used for keeping memories and stuff like that. So you can lock stuff into a clear quartz. Clear quartz is amazing. It has a lot of uses. Let's face it, if you have nothing else in your toolbox but a clear quartz, you're still good because it enhances things, it amplifies things, it focuses things, it can focus spells. That's why there's so many wands with a clear quartz on the end of it, because it can direct energy, and you can charge it for a job and then you can clear it and charge it for a different job. So it's amazing. So while you're studying, hold a clear quartz and then take it into the test with you and hold it while you're taking the test. It's going to give you extra recall. Also do that with scent. Wear the scent while you're studying and then wear the scent the day of the test. But definitely clear quartz for memory. Soothing anxiety, because let's face it, anxiety is one of the enemies of our minds. Anxiety is our fight or flight, out of control. It's our, it's what happens when we overthink or worry or, and it can spiral into actually like feeling physical symptoms and all kinds of stuff. So anything that helps anxiety is good. But Amazonite, this is my Amazonite palm. Amazonite is number one in my book for reducing anxiety. And anxiety is one of the enemies in my life. Definitely. It's one of my enemies. So anything that I can do to tame that. And so holding this, especially throw this in the refrigerator and then put it like on you, like get that vagus nerve cooled down. It's so powerful. But yes, Amazonite, incredible. In the book, Leanne and I call this the Xanax of crystals. That's probably inappropriate, but hey, it's what we said. And this, I'll take this moment to say, this is not in place of anything else you do for anxiety. This is on top of anything else you do for anxiety.
It was an aid. It's an aid. It helps me.
Okay, that's extra. Psychic power, because we know divination, psychic ability, dream magic, all kinds of things. Amethyst. Amethyst is one of the top, next to quartz crystal, one of the top stones for psychic ability. So every psychic I know has an amethyst that they either bring with them, put on their table, where, et cetera, et cetera. Amethyst is, some people feel it's protective of the psychic parts of the brain, and the psychic, and your psychic, it's a psychic shield, so that, you know, if you're somebody that feels like you could be quote unquote under psychic attack, amethyst is one of the things that I would recommend. It's definitely been used for many things, you know, sobriety being one of them, but ultimately its number one job is amplification of psychic ability, strengthening psychic ability, protection, shield, et cetera, because one of the things we will definitely get into when we talk about doing psychic work and divination is shielding and protection. So amethyst is going to be on definitely on board for that. Healing. And man, I could talk for a whole day about all the crystals that do healing. So I'm just going to say this, for whether it's healing of the mind, body, spirit, you know, otherwise, I would go master healer. Yes, you can do quartz crystal. Yes, I'm going to get all the notes of everybody going, what about bloodstone? What about golden healer? What about red healer? Yes, of course. Yes. But if I had to pick one to cover all of the types of healing, I would probably pick this. This is pyrite in magnesite, and it's called Master Healer. So I just feel like it's got the grounding piece too, which I'm going to get into in a second. It's on all levels. So I just feel like if you only can reach for one, I would reach for that. And then since I brought it up, let's see, the grounding, where is it? This is one of my oldest stones in my collection, you guys. This is my hematite. So Leanne, here we go. We're going to talk about this.
I love hematite.
If you feel scattered, if you're having trouble, if you're disassociating, if you are feeling, you know, something's not right, you're just not feeling good. You don't feel confident, you don't feel settled, you feel flighty, you feel scattered, et cetera. This is going to be your BFF, hematite. This is, I mean, and it's just the perfect size to cup in your hand. It's just like, this is one of my, this has been on the journey with me. I was a teenager when I got this. So it's like this exact stone. And it's just the perfect shape to put in your palm. It's just like the best. It's kind of seen better. I mean, it looks a little beat up, but I'm just saying.
It looks loved.
It
looks loved.
Still works great. It's seen a lot of days. It's seen a lot of love. Hematite. I can't say enough about it. And then self-love, quieting the negative thought loop of the mind that makes you doubt yourself, that makes you not love yourself, that all that negativity that you've kind of built up over the years of that negative thought loop. This is the rose quartz, love of the self, you know, love of self-acceptance and feeling, you know, feeling that kind of like love from the universe, calling that in, that higher, you know, that higher energy of love, that sort of unconditional love of the universe. We're all connected. We're all, you know, we're all here for, you know, as unique expressions of divinity. We're all here. We're all, you know, we're all belong here. That sort of vibe. The card in the Two of Cups, where like the angelic kind of creature is oftentimes above the two people that are holding the cup between, you know, the Two of Cups, or they got the two cups or what have you. That kind of, and then also the Ace of Cups, where it's like overflowing with all the beauty and the love and everything. That's the vibe of rose quartz.
We're all here and we're all safe.
You got it, baby. You got it. And the last thing that two things. One is willpower in the mind to change the way we're thinking about something, to make big changes for ourselves, to, you know, when we set out a task and we say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this about myself, or I'm going to, develop this habit or what have you. Howlite. And like, how cute is it that it's a wolf howling and it's Howlite? Come on, go there with me. So I absolutely recommend Howlite. And then the last one is, yes. Okay. So meditation is something a lot of people really do struggle with. And there's a lot that goes into that kind of mind power work, right? The work of where it's just like you and the mindscape. So if I had to grab a crystal for that, it would be Super 7. So this is a Super 7 of mine. Let me see if I can help you see how cool it is. There are 7 different minerals in here, and I know I've talked about them before, and I'm going to try to remember all of them today. So it's amethyst, clear quartz, smoky quartz, cacoxenite, goethite, lepidocrosite, and rutile. I got them all today. Damn it. I got them all today.
That's because of the hematite. It helped you remember.
It's and the clear quartz crystal. So yes. So Super 7 gets its name because it's so amazing. It has all of these incredible stones in harmony working together in one little piece. So if I had to grab, because the smoky is going to be that nice light grounding when you're doing work of the mind, it's not going to ground you so much like hematite, super duper grounding. But when you're doing psychic work, you don't really want super duper grounding till you're ready to kind of close the door. With the door still open, one thing that can help you just tether so you don't just go off is smoky. That's that nice light grounding, light protection. Love it. Clear quartz and amethyst, we already talked about how powerful those are for psychic work. And all the other pieces in there are just adding into that mix. It's incredible. So that would be my final. That's kind of like the grand finale. Like, okay, if I'm getting ready to actually do this work and I'm getting ready to do some work just in the mind, what am I, what's the stone that I'm going to grab? And it's going to be Super 7. I actually have an anhydro that I wear, that's Super 7, that I brought over to England and Ireland. And I anointed this with all 3 of the different sacred wells that I visited while we were over there. So this is a super special piece to me. And I took it through my whole spiritual journey while I was overseas. And I adore the stone. So it's one of my faves. And so I had to mention it. But yes, those are all the crystals that I would recommend for a toolbox of the mind. I would definitely recommend those. And, for additional recommendations, come see me, Gallows Hill Witchery, and we'll talk about some personal recommendations. But those are my general recommendations for the work of the mind and how to get your mind in shape for psychic work and just living your life.
Awesome. Thank you.
So
that.
Now, the other thing that's great that helps us understand our own minds is astrology. And so where would we be without our astrologer, Tim Sorenwald?
Hello, ladies, and thanks for having me as always. I have never heard of Super 7 before. I need to get one of those from you. My smoky quartz, my beautiful smoky quartz that I got from you, I recently misplaced. I think he's hiding from me, but it healed me and then it disappeared. So I was having some pain. I don't know if smoky quartz does this to other people. In Salem, it helped me to ground and get rid of a headache when I was holding one in my hand. And then recently it helped heal a little bit of carpal tunnel on my wrist, but then it disappeared. But I do love the little wolf howlite. On my planetary bracelets, I use howlite for my moon to represent the moon. So I got all the different, little planetary bracelets, but I love howlite as the moon and with the wolf. But let's get into the astrology. I want to just give a little forecast, and then we're going to talk about Jupiter and Gemini and air stuff. Obviously, air is the element of the day and also probably the year, and maybe even going into the next few years. We have a lot of air energy coming up, even next year and leading into, we've got Pluto in Aquarius right now. We'll dip back into Capricorn, but then it will be permanently in Aquarius for the next 15 years, starting next year. Jupiter's in Gemini right now, and when Jupiter leaves Gemini next year, Uranus will go into Gemini for 7 years. So this build up, I just love talking about the air because it is building up to what's coming, in the future as well, not just for this month, but definitely for many, many years to come. And, Gemini is said to be one of the signs that people hate the most, next to Scorpio. So if you are a Gemini hater, let's get over that because we are going to need Gemini energy for the next year and maybe several years with Uranus going into Gemini. And everyone has Gemini in their chart. You may even have some planets in Gemini you don't even know about. I think it's hilarious when I hear someone who says something like they hate Gemini and I pull their chart and they've got a planet or two in Gemini. But that can happen. You're not just your sun sign. You're 11 to 10 signs, the 11, 12 signs, we consider the ascendant as well. So if you don't know your big three, definitely you got to work into that. It's all about knowing yourself. Like you said, mastering yourself, Sandra. I love, we talk about Gemini, and the Magician card you mentioned was my very first reading, the Magician card ever. And this person told me I had a lot of abilities and it matches with that Gemini energy, right? The Geminis are the jack of all trades, master of none. But the full quote is jack of all trades, master of none is better than a master of one, right? And it comes down to mastering ourselves. So I love that you mentioned that, Sandra, but just want to talk what's going on right now. I mean, last month we talked a lot about some lucky days, some abundance days. There was a lot of Kazimis with Venus, the sun, Jupiter, that we, a lot of time for abundance. Jupiter in Taurus the whole last year was about securing our stability and our financial wealth, physical world, getting in touch with Mother Earth and healing. So now Jupiter has entered into Gemini, and we are now focused more on acquiring knowledge and information and deciphering, like the Queen of Swords, the clarity, right? We've had a lot of Kazimis, but tomorrow is a Mercury Sun Kazimi. So talk about mental clarity, Leanne, with that Queen of Swords. This past week has probably been like one of the worst weeks, grumpiness, challenging, this astrologically speaking. Again, we had a lot of positive conjunctions last month, but this month, this past week has probably been like the grumpiest week. We had Mars square Pluto, a lot of power struggles, anger coming out. I mean, you could have just been sitting there doing nothing, and all of a sudden Pluto's going to bring up something you were pissed off about a long time ago, and all of a sudden you're mad again. I mean, that happened to me, I think, once or twice. I was like, had to shift my mind to a different focus. But definitely, we've got Saturn making a square to a lot of planets. Currently this week, like all the planets in Gemini are in between, leaving a square of Saturn and heading towards a square to Neptune. So this week and next week, there is a lot of rose-colored glasses breaking, a lot of doses of reality, a lot of just coming out of this idealistic, illusionary ideas we had, And so, Jupiter and Gemini giving us that mental clarity, the Mercury Kazimi. There should be definitely a lot of illumination, answers to questions, and clarity tomorrow. But I want to mention just this weekend coming up, because this is a very rare thing. So this is my little journal. I like to keep track of the aspects, Oh, let me see. Yeah. So this is Friday. This is Sunday. Saturday is no aspects, planetary speaking. This is very, very rare to have like a full day where there's no planetary aspects. So what that means is that Saturday, it's what we make it. There's no influence of the planets this coming Saturday. So it's literally all about what we decide to make of it. So that's a really cool day that's coming up.
Really?
We also have some lucky days coming up, but after the full moon. So again, coming on this upcoming week, we do have some breaking of the rose-colored glasses, some illusions breaking. But as we build up to that full moon and the 21st, summer solstice, right? Summer solstice is a climax. It's a high point in the sky, the longest day of the year. This is an important day. Right before that full moon, we've got on the 20th, the moon in Sagittarius will square Neptune. And then we go into a full moon in Capricorn. This is the first of 2 full moons in Capricorns. So we're going to have a lot of cardinal energy coming up, season of Cancer, right? But it's almost like the universe is telling us, like, get rid of those pipe dreams, get rid of those illusions and dreams that aren't going anywhere, and get down to business, right? Because Capricorn is all about business, right? So definitely get down to business. If you have a business, this is the great time to put energy into that business. This is a starter energy, cardinal energy, right? 2 full moons in Capricorn. And right in between those two full moons, Saturn goes retrograde, the ruler of Capricorn. So there will be that Saturnian energy of work. You know, we mentioned in the beginning of the show about working hard. Saturn rewards hard work. All these squares that are happening, these tests, these challenges, is to see how serious we are. And we just got to keep working hard. Don't stop. Don't give up. Even if it's a tiny step, keep making progress, because that harvest will come, right? But Saturn is kind of the long term. So you're not going to see it like right away, but this is the time where we don't give up, and then we see the harvest probably in July. We got a lot of positive things coming up in July as well. But yeah, this is a tough week. If you've had a tough week, knowing about astrology, what I love is to know the external energies that are happening around us, so we don't internalize them. We don't have these mental breakdowns thinking it's something to do with us or in our head, right? And yeah, sometimes it could be something in our own minds, right? But when we know the external energies, we can decipher what is coming from externally, what's pushing us maybe to get out of the rut we're in, versus what we are creating ourselves in our own mind, right? So I definitely love astrology. And we talk about mastering ourselves. I always say, love is the most powerful emotion on the earth. But in order to love others, you have to love yourself. In order to love yourself, you got to know yourself. And an astrological report helps you to do that, to really get to know you, right? So that's what I want to talk about. Just, some really cool, important days coming up. But Jupiter and Gemini, I just wanted to mention, as we're leaving that Jupiter and Taurus, where we were kind of focused on the material world and our stability, and now we're transitioning to air. It's all about freedom. Like you said, Sandra, what is going to give us freedom? And there's lots of things, right, that can give us freedom. It can be mental freedom, physical freedom, being able to move even physically. But it does have to do with that, the freedom, just focusing on the air energy.
My Sag moon, which is also your Sag moon, craves that freedom.
Yes.
Why I oftentimes will buck against routine, and like it's hard for me to develop habits. And it's one of the things I'm working on in my own mind, because we never stop working on ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. So it's one of the things I'm working on is being able to develop routines that serve me and not push against them. Because it's like my part of my brain is like William Wallace, freedom. Like it just wants freedom. It wants adventure. It wants excitement. It wants differences. I'm a free spirit. It's probably also that Pisces rising. But anyway, I'm just such a free spirit. I don't like to have like a daily, it's very hard for me to build a daily routine. So,
and Sagittarius is opposite of Gemini. So, you got 6 axes in the zodiac. The Gemini Sagittarius axis is the axis of knowledge. And they also say that that's the axe that actually gets along the most, because Gemini and Sagittarius both are fun-loving, spontaneous. They love adventure. They love knowledge. They love learning, right? So they actually get along probably more than any of the other 6 axes in the zodiac. However, I'm so glad that you just said what you said about adventure and being spontaneous, because Gemini will stir your boredom the next year. You will be bored, or it will stir your boredom to the point that you want to try something new. You're going to be curious about something. Even this show, we're talking about teaching and learning things. What a great year to learn something new or to teach something new. And guess what? For those people who get really, really bored or try to ignore this energy, you're going to be the ones that kind of scrap your whole lives and go out and do something crazy for the plot. There are a lot of people that are out there doing things for the plot. That's Gemini energy. Geminis just are crazy, fun, spontaneous. They'll do anything for just,
It's also Sagittarius.
And Sagittarius.
Very Sagittarius.
Yes. And guess what? Gemini, Sagittarius.
Like, burn the whole thing down. Do it for the plot. Come on,
and we're also storytellers, and so that's why we're doing it, so we can have a great story to tell.
I love it. I've already planned my next 5 vacations. I gotta get out of here.
Great year to travel, learn new things. In these journeys, any traveling that you all take this year, don't just go for the physical journey, but soak in everything. You will learn new things, meet new people. Oh, social connections. That's the other thing of Jupiter and Gemini. Get out and meet people. If we go back in history and we look at when Facebook was created, when Twitter was created, when Instagram, all of the social networks were when either Jupiter or Saturn, there was major air energy in the sky. Mostly when Jupiter was involved, making air trines or conjunctions. I don't have the exact dates. I did do some research on it, but I don't have the exact dates. But it's very interesting to see that I predict that we could even have a new social media platform by the end of this next year. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, with this air energy, air is all about innovation, knowledge, acquiring knowledge. So with Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus going into Gemini next year, I mean, there will be lots of inventions. Next 15 years, just innovation, knowledge, invention. So time to get those inventions out and working on them, communicating, networking, connecting with people. It's all about that. But
leveling up.
yes,
Everything is leveling up.
As a Gemini, I can attest to my biggest enemy is boredom. I love to do everything. Well, and I think that's why in the past I've been complimented of being a good teacher, because I love to make things fun. I hate to make things boring. So when it comes to anything I do, even including this show, I try to make it fun, entertaining, because Geminis love to have fun. This is the year to have fun, guys. Don't, do things that you love, enjoy, but also that's going to teach you new things. So
absolutely.
And yeah, so definitely lots of great air energy. What we can learn, from tapping into that air energy, one of the natural spiritual abilities of air is intuition. As an air sign, I know all about how we pull answers out of thin air. Things come to us when we're tapped in. We don't know where sometimes even that information comes through, but we literally pull answers out of thin air. We can switch like the changing of the winds, and we have that ability. Fire is the natural ability of vision to predict the future with crazy accuracy. And water, the most psychic of all signs, taps into the vibrations and currents all around. So, and earth, of course, the healing, a natural ability to manage resources, energy, and energy healing. So air, we're talking about air energy. This is the time to listen to our intuition, try to calm that mind, using those crystals, like you said, Sandra, to listen, to hear what the universe is speaking, right?
Right. And I got to say, that core 4 meme, that picture meme that's going around that I saw you picked up.
Yeah.
That I'm loving it because it's showing me on my friends list patterns of people that I'm drawn to, or that are drawn to me, I suppose. And what those patterns mean. I was discussing with Leanne this morning that I have a lot of people with Sagittarius rising.
I was noticing
her company because she and Tim both have Sagittarius rising, and I have a bunch of Sagittarius rising people in my life, and my mom and dad were both Sagittarious.
Wow.
So Sagittarius feels like home to me.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I'm sure you didn't know that we both had Sagittarius moons when we met.
But you know what's even crazier about you and I, Tim?
Yeah.
So you and I both, and it's different expressions except for the Sagittarius, but we both have an air sun, a fire moon,
you're right,
a water rising, and an earth Venus. Our core 4 is a perfect balance of the 4 elements.
Yes, and then if we go a step further, we both have Mars in Earth signs as well. So we should be compatible as friends.
As a Libra, I absolutely adore the balance of that.
Yeah.
I have, that I have those 4, and I looked today, and so do you.
Yes.
And I'm like, no wonder he and I click like we do. Like, it's like,
if it wasn't for my my Earth, Taurus, and Venus, I have a Taurus, Venus, Mars. They really ground that Gemini, Sagittarius full moon energy. I can be a little crazy, definitely, for sure. But in relationships, I am completely Earth. Stable, long term.
Yes. And that's why I love finding out about people's Venus, because that does clue you in on how they are in relationships. Yes, it can be their aesthetic. Yes, it can be how they decorate the home or whatever. But it's also very much how they interact and how they view relationships, work relationships, love relationships, friendships, all of it. And so you get a little more of a clue with everyone doing that meme, get a little more of a clue as to how you're best able to relate to that person, how you can, better serve the relationship with that person. And so it's fantastic to have everybody doing that. Or if you're, if you're on CoStar, obviously it's great to have your friends on CoStar. But if you're not on CoStar, at least to be able to look at all the memes, I'm like, oh my God, this is like a trend. I love it. So what does astrology, I mean, honestly, astrology is one of the things that I think helps us understand our mind, because it helps us. And so an astrology reading helps you understand why you make the decisions you make, why you're feeling different things that you're feeling at different points of your life. You guys, you do the transits and everything, right?
There's so much. I mean, I was just thinking the other day that as someone who studies astrology, I've come to the conclusion that if you want to study astrology, you got to basically commit to being a student for life. There is so much to learn. I'm always learning constantly new things, but yes, I love it. The very, very basic stuff is learning your natal chart. If you don't know if you're sitting there listening to this and you don't know anything about your big three, and I could do a 15-minute reading to go over all of that, just the basics of your big three. Like, I got that available. So there's astro.com, the co-star, you can do it for free if you have a little knowledge on how to do that. But yeah, this it's helped me in so many ways, and not just even learning about yourself, but you can kind of sense the energies that's going on. Like this Tuesday was a very challenging day, Mars square Pluto. So a lot of people felt that, and again, if we don't know what's happening externally, we sometimes internalize that. We think that it's us. And so there's something I need to do now. I need to go and tell that person the peace of mind because I got that thought in my head to speak my mind. But then if we know what's happening astrologically, we say, maybe slow down just a bit. And this is an external energy that's happening. And let's just wait till tomorrow. You might feel a little different.
And that's one of the powers of getting control of the self and mastery of the self.
Yeah.
It's about acting and reacting. It's about discerning when to use magic to push a situation into a direction, when and how to go about doing that, and hopefully to understand that it's going to be much more powerful when you focus it on yourself. And why is that? Because you're within your control most of the time. Some people don't even have themselves within their control, but anyway, the idea is that it takes less energy to work on yourself magically than it does to try to control someone else's actions through magic. I'm always going to advocate for people to control themselves in the situation and not try to control others in the situation. That's not what understanding the powers of the mind is about. It's not about controlling other people. It's about controlling the self. And once you turn that corner and stop trying to manipulate others and start getting with yourself and mastering yourself, you will realize what a futile, adventure it is to try to get someone else under your control, and how much easier it is to get the life you want when you're working the magic for and by and on yourself.
Absolutely. There's a certain level of alchemy and magic in doing just that. Looking at what's happening astrologically, knowing, okay, this is what's happening, this is what I need to do, building upon that magic, working with the universe, right? Maybe there's a harsh transit, but there's also a very positive transit. Like we had at the same time Saturn squaring the sun, we had the sun conjunct Venus.
Yeah.
So if you're doing magic, tap into that Venus power, right? That could help you overcome the harsher challenges. So there is alchemy in that sense as well, to not manipulate or control, but maybe just magically tap into what we need to be to get us to that next level. I guess you could probably say it better than I. But
I think you did a good job.
Yeah,
I think you did a good job. I sent Leanne something the other day about leveling up. Because a lot of times when we do level up mentally in this life, we lose certain people around us who were benefiting from the fact that we had not leveled up there mentally, that they had a modicum of control in some fashion because we had not built up our own power within ourselves. And so what winds up happening is sometimes you'll see things breaking apart, and you'll see things, and it's like the tower moment where everything that you thought was a certain way comes crumbling down. But the benefit is that you're building something far more solid, something that is going to benefit you more, even in the short term from a mental health standpoint, and in the long term, for multiple reasons. But it's like you still sometimes will have to shed people, places, things, etc., to level up.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned boundaries, because that is definitely a key theme with this past week and this upcoming week with Neptune squaring. Neptune is all about boundaries, but I like to do a little test when it comes to someone, and if you cannot tell that person no, and no be a complete sentence and be acceptable, there's probably a boundary issue.
Take it away, Leanne.
Yep. Oh my God. I mean, going on and on. I'm my Venus is in Leo. I had trouble with myself. When people don't respect you and they don't understand what the word no is, they never will. They never will. People like to create illusions. Illusions of caring about you. Sometimes they use you. I mean, God, I hate telling everyone right now that you have to protect yourself constantly, but you do, and it's an exhausting thing. And I'm a big mush ball. All I want to do is just love you, forget about it, let's let it. Can't, because it hurts my soul. And you know what? The saddest thing is sometimes if I hold on to a person, I'm not allowing them to grow. I'm making everything easy for the both of us. Just letting it go. Maybe if I say something, maybe if I actually say no more, they actually will go and do what they need to do. And I don't have to Cancerianly mother or smother someone all the way. Because that's what I do. That's me. I'm the one who holds on too tight. I know that about myself, and that's okay. But I'm learning to let go, let the birdies fly. And if they hit their face on the ground, oh, well, you've got to stop protecting people from disappointing you. Do you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Stop protecting people from disappointing you.
Get some tough love. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm going to get
somebody through the Facebook.
Yep.
Get rid of it. Thank you. Oh my Lord. I love how I love how she wants to give us one of our psychic readers a psychic reading. Wow.
Wow.
You must really feel led.
That's hilarious. It's like
I don't even want to look at her. Bye.
Oh my God. Too
funny. Okay, so there's a boundary. Bye.
But boundaries. I love
Speaking of boundaries.
But Tim, I'm going to tell you, this week has been a pile of poop, and I am thrilled to see next week. I hope it is better, but at least I learned a lot how to handle shitty weeks.
Starting Saturday, and you know what? I think.
Right?
I'm sorry. Coming off of a shitty week, I feel like we may have some of that, like that little fear, like, it's going to just keep getting worse. But remember Saturday, what we make it, right? Saturday, no planet.
We're gonna make it a superstar day, a really magical day. Yeah.
Leanne, sit back for a second. Now, no, I was looking at earlier. You had a sword, like right off your shoulder.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit of our weapon, sir.
Okay,
nice.
And I have a chalice right over my shoulder. So
oh my goodness, I see it. That's your Glastonbury chalice, my dear.
Yeah, this is one Kevin bought me at the Chalice Well.
Beautiful.
So you have my sign off your shoulder, and I have your sign for water off.
Yes.
And together, the sword and the cup.
Yeah.
No wonder you and I are perfect together.
This is it.
Hello.
Oh,
nice
to meet you.
Right. So anyway, oh my God. So yeah. So so many light bulbs, but yes, the power of the mind is the strongest. This is the strongest thing. And I'm going to say from way back in the day, Silva Mind Control Method. Get this book. It is from the 70s. So it's wicked old school, but so many magical people have built certain things upon that book. The knowledge in that book, it's going to cost you probably $7-8 for the paperback, worth its weight in gold. It's going to help protect you. It's going to teach you how to, so many things. It's going to teach you so many things about your mind from a scientific standpoint, not a woo-woo, not really not from a religious standpoint, from a scientific standpoint. It's going to teach you about your mind. And then the other thing is from a completely witchcraft standpoint, how could we not say Psychic Witch by Matt Aron? How could we not? So why is that book? I mean, we could go on, we could find 10 reasons why the book is so popular. But the one that I'm going to say is it's because that is the most powerful and most important tool is the mind of the witch. That's why that book resonates across all lines. That's why everybody wants that book, because we all already have exactly what we need to work that work. So, those are my picks. Leanne, jump in if you've got another one that you want to talk about for the power of the mind. But
power of the mind. Wow, that was fast. I love the Kabbalion and anything with the Hermetic principles. Any book that covers the Hermetic principles, it will give you, whether you are a seasoned practitioner, go over it again, do it again. And also, what was the book? Oh yeah, we lost Matt.
Yeah, we lost him.
We lost
him. I don't know where. I'm like,
where'd you go, Tim? Okay, and there's another one, and I don't know why I can't. The 4 Agreements.
Ooh, yes.
4 Agreements.
Yes.
Read that. Read that before you join any magical group, coven, group practice. Read the 4 Agreements. It'll help you check yourself before you wreck yourself. It'll also help you. Yeah, I'm serious. It'll answer the question. As somebody who's codependent and has a slew of things, I will tell you, are you mad at me? No, no one really cares. I loved the 4 Agreements. Be impeccable to your word, and you'll never have to ask that question. I love it. So anything about Hermetics and the 4 Agreements.
Yes. So those are our recommendations if you want to work on your mindset. And one of the things that I was talking about is building good habits. And for some people like me, it's very difficult to build those good habits. So what I would say in the beginning is maybe you don't think about it as building a habit. You think about it as building a mindset. So you're not trying to do something every single day, clockwork, like I do this every single day. And then when you miss a day, you're like, I missed a day, the hell with it. No, instead build a mindset around that and you won't question it anymore. Build a mindset around what it is you want. There he is. Build a mindset around what it is you want in your life. Instead of trying to build a habit of a daily practice, try to build the mindset of it first. And then it'll start to just come naturally. And then if you miss a day of something, it's not a big deal because you're not trying to do it every single day. If you do it most of the time, you're probably good. Now, I have been able to build some habits. My husband, the fixed air sign, is much better at this than I am. So I mimic him a little bit. I wanted to be good about taking my vitamins and my supplements every single day. That was something that I really sucked at. I used to take it when I worked in an office. I used to take them and line them up in front of the computer of the office so that at least 5 days a week, I would walk in and go, I have to take those right now. But when I stopped working in an office, or I was only working 3 days a week in an office, and then I completely got away from the office, it all fell apart. So I started coming up with ways to make it something that I was really looking forward to doing. Because, like, we want that innovation. We want that little boost of dopamine. We want that happy feeling. So what did I do? I found a protein shake that I absolutely adored enough to want one every morning. And I put my supplements with the protein shake. And then I also, for the omegas, I found these little gummy omegas so that it felt kind of like a little sweet treat at the end. So I still do this to this day. I take all the pill ones first, and then I eat the gummies at the end. And that just makes it feel like a little treat. And so even when I was overseas and we went over to England and Ireland, I still took my supplements every day, even without the shake, because I am now, it's so ingrained. I started this in 2019. I started this in April of 2019, and I'm still doing it. And I'm like, wow, that's a major accomplishment for me, because trying to develop a habit like that is not easy. So it's like, but I kind of tricked myself into it. So sometimes if you think about the things that you really are going to be drawn to about something, I mean, we all have things that are like better for us, but we don't love them. So we're like, and sometimes just the fact that it's like the drudgery of a daily responsibility is enough to turn you off to something. But if it's for your greater good, you kind of got to come up with a way, to make it. And especially with like things we eat or things, whatever, if you're not going to love it, you're probably not going to do it. I was just talking to Leanne about this cleanser for my face, and I was like, I'm just going to chuck it because I don't love it enough. And I want to get better about, being good about my skincare routine and everything. It's like, sometimes if you just develop a mindset instead of trying to develop a habit, that'll get you further down the line towards where you want to be.
Good.
Great ideas.
This is wonderful.
I'm like, I could talk about this topic forever. And I'm looking at the time. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. All right.
We have to let Lou go. But,
sorry, Lou, we love you.
But
thank you, Lou.
If you guys pick up those books, definitely shoot us a text or send an email or a carrier pigeon. I want to hear about your experience. Pauline says she has 2 of them, and then I think 3 of them, because I think she's talking also about the 4 agreements. She says she buys it and gives it away.
Yes, you can't.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that book. I'm glad you brought that book up. So yeah, it's like, little tips and tricks, guys, little tips and tricks about the mind that puts you on to the things so you can live your best life. That's what we want to do. We're empowering everybody to live their best life. That's our mission. So
absolutely.
And so this was part 1 of the new series of Making Magic. And I'm hoping we've got somebody that I'm hoping her schedule will make it so that next month we're going to have a special guest, a tarot related special guest, because next month we're going to talk about intuition. We're going to talk about divination. We're going to talk about the tarot specifically as one of the tools that helps us live our best life. So
that sounds great. This month at Pentagram, don't forget, we have our friend Colby Michael teaching a class.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Love you. Bye. Yes, and I have a class coming up too, but I think it's next month. So check Gallows Hill Witchery. It's on Eventbrite. Check gallowshillwitchery.com for the crystals class, and and we'll see you next month.
And if you've never got an astro reading, what are you waiting for? I'm right here.
There we go.
Love you guys.
Bye, guys. Bye. See you next month.
Why doesn't it work for me?